Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coffee with Craig show. We'll be talking about commercial real estate in Central and Eastern Europe. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coffee with Craig show. Welcome to this special edition of the Coffee with Craig show. We're here with the Canadian ambassador, the ambassador to Serbia. And Mr. Ambassador, welcome to the Coffee with Craig show.
Thank you very much, Craig. It's good to be here.
It's great, V. Thanks for your time. And let's just start with tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, your personal career, and what got you to this point.
Sure. Well, I'm a career Foreign Service officer. I've been working all over the world for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. This is my first ambassadorial assignment, and it's a good one.
Okay.
So I'm really happy.
Yeah.
I'm really great. And so I've been to Norway. I've served in Sri Lanka. Mm-hmm. I've served in New York. So I've served sort of all over the world. But I got to admit, this is one of the more sort of interesting assignments, I must admit, because of the breadth of the relationship.
Right.
Interestingly enough, I'm an immigrant myself, mm-hmm. and so my family immigrated when I was young. And one of the things I really liked about a Foreign Service career is it allows someone like me to be able to go and experience a whole bunch of diverse cultures and actually get paid for it,
right?
Which is great. And
great life.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's nice to be part of the Canadian Foreign Service, because Canada tends to be sort of more future-looking than some other places, and you tend to deal with some more interesting issues, mm-hmm. gender equality, responsible business conduct, which we might get to later.
Absolutely.
And of course, advancing Canadian interests. So,
right.
Yeah.
So tell us what's happening in, let's say, for Canadian companies now in Serbia, for the Canadian embassy as well, which I would think your role is a lot on the commercial side, or,
Definitely.
I know you have to juggle both, the political, if something horrible comes up or something good comes up, but also on the business side. So how do you see your job now here?
Well, it's an interesting time. Mm-hmm. Investment in Serbia has been doing very well. Mm-hmm. Even during the pandemic, mm-hmm. Serbia has actually become quite an attractive place to do business and investment. It's a bit of a hub for the region.
Sure.
And so Canadian companies see Serbia as a way to leverage the Serbian links and mm-hmm. transport links for the whole region. So you're not just looking at Serbia, you're looking, and this is one of the messages we give them, of course,
right. mm-hmm.
is that it's not just about Serbia and Belgrade, it's about all the other countries that surround it.
Right, so this is the hub for the region.
This is the hub.
Okay.
This is the hub.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had some really good marquee investments who have expanded recently. We've had Magna, which is Magna International,
sure.
auto parts manufacturer, has
mm-hmm.
opened up 2 factories in Serbia. We have, in the food and beverage industry, we have Advertise,
mm-hmm.
which is one of the largest beer companies, which is owned by Molson Coors. And recently we had the opening up of our first Canadian school. And it's a daycare, or a kindergarten and mm-hmm. primary school called Maple Bear.
Oh.
And it's been really successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they have expansion plans. So I get to sort of talk to these companies mm-hmm. when they come, explain the political environment, the economic environment, what they should look for, maybe give them some help if they get into some trouble or with some contacts.
Right.
But ultimately, of course, the decision is theirs. But we're there to support them. Mm-hmm. And I would say the interest is good. I mean, it's been a modest trade relationship historically, but it's growing. It's growing. It's on the up.
And what do you think? What do you think about the future for Canadian companies? I'm sure you're looking at a list of Canadian companies saying, "Why aren't these here? Why aren't those here? Why aren't we in this sector?" What's kind of your A list to get them over here to start?
Yeah, it's a good
sectors.
It's a good question. It's mm-hmm. a good question because they don't. Canadian companies tend to think of Europe. They tend to think of the bigs, right? The Germanys, mm-hmm. the
sure.
Britons, the Frances. They don't necessarily come to think here. But mm-hmm. what we try and hook them with is. But those are mature markets. Mm-hmm. This has real room for expansion. And the government is serious mm-hmm. about attracting investment. So you've got a government that wants foreign investment, in particular right. North American investment. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to see them coming and seeing, again, as this place is part of the European whole as well. Mm-hmm. Serbia has European ambitions. It is increasingly linked to the European economy. Mm-hmm. And so Canadian companies can use this as sort of low-cost base in a way to actually leverage opportunities in Eastern and Central Europe.
Right. Because they're in Europe. They're not in the EU, but close enough, let's say. And it's I think it's a good country, or a country that if you're going to come in and make a few mistakes, better to do it here than Champs-Elysees or something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the competition is
pretty
less.
fierce.
Yeah,
right.
It's less than in France.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, great. Just one last question, because I know we're running out of time, but it's something that we, as from Serbia Monthly, Property and Europa Property always promote is really sustainable business, ESG policies, putting this into place, and just, for the few, I've been coming 15 years, but on and off. And what I've noticed is there's a lot of Serbian companies doing things to promote for sustainable business, but no one's promoting it. So of course, from the international point of view, it looks like Serbia's doing nothing. What is your take on this?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked that. It's an important priority for us. I mean, Canada rolled out a new strategy called Responsible Business Conduct. It has different labels, but it's the same idea. And this was in April. And the idea is that our companies and our investors are there to reflect Canadian values and interests. And therefore, we have expectations and, frankly, requirements on them to act in the way that we expect them to act in Canada. And this is a message that we're going to increasingly promote. I'm going to increasingly promote it in the next few months. I've found that in Serbia, there's a receptivity. There's a little bit of misunderstanding about what it is, I frankly find. But I think there are businesses here who want to do the right thing, definitely. And they want to be responsible citizens. They see themselves as part of sort of building a future Serbia that is greener, more equal, fairer. And that message is resonating, and it's good. As you say, it's sort of a bit uncoordinated. So one of the things we're going to try and do is to find some strategic partners, both companies and in the nonprofit sector, to maybe sort of streamline this message a little bit. That's one of the projects I'd like to work on in the next year or so. Oh, excellent. I mean, I think that's perfect because, you're right. The young people, for sure, which we're talking to, they're like, oh, we want to be involved in that because you're saving the bees or something. And, exactly. And I'm thinking, gosh, I talked about all this other stuff. They didn't really care, but they're like, oh, the bees, that's what they remember. But that's what matters. Like, okay, that's great. Well, Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for being on the Coffee with Craig show. We have a gift for you, which is our Coffee with Craig coffee mug. This is great. So we give one to everyone who's brave enough to come on the show. Well, thanks, Craig. I really appreciate this. Yeah, it's great to see you. Well, thanks for the invite. Good luck with the project. I think this is great. This is great. And thanks for inviting me on the ground floor of it. Great. Thank you. Thanks. And thank you for everybody for watching our Coffee with Craig show this week. And check out our SerbiaMonthly.com website where we have the daily news, Serbia Business Daily News, and of course, Europa Property. And enjoy the rest of the day. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for the news. Yeah, so great. Is that okay? Done, yeah. I was a little bit loose than not doing scripted talking points. It's supposed Thanks for the mug. That's the way it is. I mean, we try to do this kind of discussion, Yeah, that's what I thought. Everything else is always so painful when you watch it. I know. Give them the line for points. Oh, this is good. I like it. Thanks. Click here to subscribe to the Coffee with Craig show, and don't forget to share it with your friends.